Hey guys, welcome back to another archival episode. I'm going to pick up from where we left off last time on the last from the last archival episode in February 2021. Before that, I'm just going to give you a little background of what I'm doing at this very moment. I just drank water and I am choking on it. I'm actively choking, and I needed to drink that water because I just ate ice cream for lunch. Just a little bit of ice cream for lunch, and at least growing up, my mother always had to have a glass of water after she ate ice cream, and I am the same way. I think a lot of us are. A lot of us Americans are that way, and because we need to drink water all the time. And um, I just ate some homemade in the shade ice cream, and there was a big spot that had a bunch of the fudge swirl that I just ate, so I'm feeling weird. Um, and my mouth is raw and sore. I've been dog sitting at my in laws all week, and they stocked their freezer with highly processed food for us. And, you know, the combination of it being highly processed and needing to go into an oven and then eating it straight out of the oven, I have blisters and salt burns all over my mouth. I hope it's not actually something serious, but my mouth is in a lot of pain, so I think it's okay to eat ice cream for lunch. Okay, that aside, let me jump back to February 2021. Let me just make sure I'm starting on the right day. Yeah, so February 22nd, 2021, it was a Monday. 10 a.m. Ruby coffee with oat milk and coleslaw over rice made at home. 2 p.m. Rice cakes, dark chocolate. 7 p.m. Chicken pot pie, peas, and sauerkraut made by Brian. Brian makes a really good chicken pot pie, and I wonder if we'll get to it in an archival episode, but our downstairs neighbors were and still are vegetarians, so we would make them a mushroom pot pie sometimes, and that was great. I don't know what I was doing eating coleslaw over rice. It sounds so sad. And rice cakes and dark chocolate for lunch. I wonder if in my unemployment I was starting to worry about money. February 23rd, 2021, it was a Tuesday. 11 a.m. Ruby coffee with oat milk and avocado. Sorry. Ruby coffee with oat milk and avocado, salami, and spring greens on a baguette made at home. 1 p.m. Avocado, salami, and spring greens on baguette made at home. 7 p.m. Glass of Sauvignon Blanc and Corella Paripudal made at home. I think I was making baguettes at this point. Hard to say. I have to look up what Corella Paripudal is, because sometimes I just make these things once and then I just never make them again, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just like an Indian style dal. I don't know why I needed to call it that. I wonder if I used a recipe. My mom gave me a Indian cookbook. Of course, I'm blanking on the name now. What are Madhur Jaffrey? I think she's a celebrity, but she has a cookbook, and my mother gave it to me, and that's for the most part where I'm getting my Indian recipes from. But I did get a new cookbook in the mail for $6 on Amazon Prime, a used book. Remember, Amazon used to be a bookseller. I mean, they still are, but anyway, I'm slowly reading through that, and it might be my new go-to book. It was published in 1980. But, these Indian classics, I mean, you don't need updates. So, I don't know what this, I can't even figure out what this is. Kerala Paripu dal. Kerala style dal. Paripu is a rich and decadent South Indian dal curry from Kerala. Sorry, guys. Sorry if this is your culture and I'm just butchering it. So anyway, back to what I was eating. I love that I was eating sandwiches on baguette. That's fun. And I think during this time, the glass of Sauvignon Blanc, that probably was really good with the spicy dal. I was a little bit obsessed with Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand. I think they are the brightest, zippiest, driest. I don't know how to describe them. They just have a bright sharpness to them that is so refreshing. It's the perfect summer patio drink. It's the perfect drink to drink while sitting on a patio and having open containers on a patio and getting flies in your beverages. February 24th, 2021, it was a Wednesday and my sister's birthday. 10 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half and avocado and egg with spring greens on baguette made at home. 1 p.m. Salami, avocado, and spring greens on baguette made at home. 3:30 p.m. Turmeric and ginger tea with honey made at home. 6 p.m. Leftover Kerala Paripu dal with chicken over rice and a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. 7:30 p.m. Dark chocolate. I wonder what I was eating chocolate-wise at this point. Brian at one point started buying me those Tony Chocolonely bars. Brian went through this period where about every week he would pick me up a bar of dark chocolate. You know, now that I think of it, well, I don't know how it started. Was he buying me dark chocolate bars so I was eating them and then he thought, "Oh, you eat dark chocolate," so he kept buying me them? Or was I eating dark chocolate and then he noticed that so he kept buying me them? Because at some point I stopped eating dark chocolate and now I have a stack up to the ceiling of dark chocolate bars in my cabinet. But he just keeps buying them and I don't have the heart to tell him that I don't want them. So I just stack them in my cabinet. I mean, I could bake with them. They'd be great as shards in a chocolate chip cookie. But they're like so expired at this point, but I can't throw them away. I think Brian's actually been eating them at night when I'm not looking because someone's wrestling around in there. And anyway, I think a year or two ago, some report came out about how dark chocolate was riddled with metal and lead and arsenic and who knows. So I just stopped eating dark chocolate. I just lost my appetite for it. It makes me thirsty in a bad way. Turmeric and ginger tea with honey. I wonder if I was sick. February 25th, 2021. It was a Thursday. 9 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half and blueberries with yogurt made at home. 1 p.m. Annie's mac and cheese with peas and avocado made at home. 3 p.m. Almonds and dandelion tea with honey made at home. 7:30 p.m. 2 glasses of Sauvignon Blanc and leftover dal with puffed tofu over rice made at home. Sometimes I get into these phases where I think I'm going to drink tea every day, and I do this and I buy bulk tea and then I drink it for 2 days in a row like I was doing here, and then I never drink it again. That's probably what's going on. Maybe it was cold, like especially cold, or maybe like one of us was a little sick and then I never have tea. a whole year passes before I have another cup of tea. Brian drinks a lot more tea than I do. I do like to buy bulk loose tea. I feel weird about pouring boiling water over those satchels because I feel like they're made out of plastic, even though I don't know if I can prove it. And anyway, I like the loose tea and a Japanese tea, it's like a glass teapot with a metal strainer. And I like Earl Grey a lot. I ran out of my bulk Earl Grey, so I ordered another bag, and I didn't look carefully enough at what I was ordering, and I accidentally ordered bulk Earl Grey tea, like $40 to $50 worth of Earl Grey tea that was flavored with cream, but it tasted exactly like cream soda flavor, artificial cream soda flavor. I opened the bag. I was trying to explain to Brian, I was like, I don't know about this. And he was like, it might not be so bad. I opened the bag and he almost threw up. We had to throw all of it away. Sorry if you love it, but it was so strange. I want to talk about the puffed tofu for a minute. I love puffed tofu. They sell it in bags in the tofu section at a lot of Asian grocery stores. It's so perfect. The first time I had it was in a green curry, like a really, like a laksa, actually, probably. It's really good in laksa, like a really loose. I mean, it's good in a Thai curry, but like the laksa is more soupy, so you have more liquid to play with and get absorbed into that puffed tofu. The puffed tofu is a sponge, and when it gets filled up with curry broth, I miss having puffed tofu. I mean, I'm sure I could find it here, but I was always eating it in Chicago. Yeah, the first time I had it, I think, was at King Noodle, that defunct restaurant in Brooklyn, Bushwick. Okay, February 26, 2021. It was a Friday, 10 a.m. Okay, sorry if you can hear my cats slapping. I had to get a dog-sized food mat for my cats because they make such a mess. And it's like a silicone material. And one of my cats, he's deaf, so he can't hear what he's doing. He slaps it because, he's trying to bury his food. He slaps it around and it sounds like someone's walking around in flip-flops. And when I have people stay over, he does it in the middle of the night. And they always ask me in the morning, were you walking around with flip-flops last night? What was that sound? And it's the sound that's happening right now. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, so 10 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half and vegetable fried rice made by Brian. 4 p.m. blueberries. 7 p.m. can of Insetto Italian plum sour ale and sardine mushroom fried rice made at home. 9 p.m. 2 frozen margaritas and chips and queso made at home. Ooh, this was a fun day because, okay, so remember, this is peak COVID. It's pre-vaccine. It's winter in Chicago, so everyone's stuck in their houses. We were doing a Friday night virtual game night, which was fun. And so we already had a group of people who would meet up on Zoom every night on Friday. So with my sister. And so I organized a surprise party for her birthday. So she thought she was just showing up to the regular game night, but it was really like, and it was like, you can't have unlimited people playing the game. So it was really just like 6 to 8 of us max showing up for this game night. She showed up and I think, I don't know, like a lot of, I don't know. I mean, I have screenshots from it. I should look. Maybe 25 people showed up. And she was definitely surprised. So the previous year, it was February 25th, 4th, 2020 was right before COVID. We didn't know it was going to hit. And I threw a birthday party for her at her house. We did it together. It was Chili's theme, like the restaurant Chili's. And we did chips and queso and a huge thing of margaritas. And we all went out dancing at Queen, the best party to dance at Smart Bar in Chicago. You got to go on the right night, though. You got to go on Sunday night when Queen happens. Otherwise, you're going to go there and get groped by somebody. But it was such a fun party. It was such a high. I mean, so many like wonderful things were happening during that time. Like, I had so many great projects happening in that party, and like socially things were going up, up, up. And then everything came to a halt and crashed with COVID. And so I tried, like, it was such a letdown that everything crashed. I tried to recreate this Chili's themed birthday party over Zoom. And so I made myself frozen margaritas and chips and queso, which, you know, of course I couldn't share it. But my friend Claire, who lives in Texas, we worked at Milk Bar together. That's how we met. And she sent me Easy Melt to make queso with. Apparently it's the best. It's better than, you know, Kraft. And it's white, so you can make a white queso. So Claire sent me a ton of Easy Melt. So kind of her. And yeah, I think I gave some to Anna, but that was a good, makes a good queso. Anna and I eat a lot of queso together when we can. That's my sister. And my other sister too. But I also need to shout out this Insetto Italian Plum Sour Ale. I don't know where I found it. There's like in Chicago, you can just find good beer everywhere. But that was a really good sour ale. Came in a 4-pack. Just, you know, regular small size cans. And yeah, I also, another thing I remember from the surprise birthday party was I had tequila in the house to make these frozen margaritas. And so before the pandemic, I mean, I was working in an office when the pandemic hit, but before that, I'd been a bartender working in bars for years. And so my liquor tolerance was pretty high. Like I could take a shot and even that's not true. I couldn't do shots of straight liquor. I would have to do an Amaro, like a Fernet shot I could do. But anyway, when the pandemic happened, I did not drink liquor. I really don't drink liquor at all anymore. It's just too strong. My tolerance is completely gone. I can drink like half a can of beer. But I remember taking a shot for someone brought up the idea at the virtual surprise party, like, let's all do a shot for Anna. So everybody tried to get like a shot of something. And because I had tequila on hand, I was like, sure, I'll do a tequila shot, and was startled. It was just such a eye-opening way to realize how much time had passed and how things had changed, because I hadn't had liquor in almost a year, and it was just I could not handle it. Yeah, it's crazy that it's 2025 now, that this was 4 years ago. I mean, oh my God, I can't. February 27th, 2021. It was a Saturday. 11 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half, and leftover fried rice with scrambled egg made at home. 2 p.m. Cheese Danish from Jumping Bean. 5 p.m. Tall can of Kronbacher Hell's Lager. 8 p.m. Pork and basil dumplings with chili crisp made at home. Jumping Bean is, for a long time it was probably the only coffee place in Pilsen, but It's a coffee place in Pilsen, where they buy their pastries at Restaurant Depot, and nobody there actually knows how to make coffee. I mean, I say that because I knew someone who worked there, and we were at a book club together, and we're like, well, you work at the coffee shop. Why don't you make coffee? And he didn't know how. But it's just a low key neighborhood place. I don't know why I got to choose Danish there. I wonder if Brian went out. And then pork and basil dumplings. I wonder if I made those. I was making a lot of dumplings. So living in New York, I ate a lot of dumplings. I mean, a lot of them were from Trader Joe's just because they were cheap, but you could go. Here's what I would do before a restaurant shift. And I worked at multiple restaurants in Dime Square before it was called Dime Square. I mean, Dimes was there, but people didn't really refer to it as Dime Square yet. I was working in Dime Square, and it's so close to Chinatown, and there's so many little shops where for like $1 you can get a container of crispy, fried, juicy dumplings. It was so cheap. It was so cheap that it didn't make sense to even buy a pot or a pan and cook your own food. So I would go there all the time and eat in Chinatown. And you could buy a huge bag of frozen dumplings for like $8. I mean, and I think I'm so spoiled by that anytime I go anywhere and they have dumplings and it's like $40 to take home a bag of frozen dumplings, I can't handle it. And I had to start making my own dumplings. And it's not that hard. And of course, I was torturing myself because I thought I had to make the wrappers, but you just buy the wrappers and it's so easy. And then you just freeze them individually on a sheet tray and then bag them. I learned the hard way. Don't just put them in a Ziploc bag fresh and freeze them because they all stick together. You lay them out on a sheet tray on parchment separately, freeze them, and then put them in a bag. February 28th, 2021, it was a Sunday. 10 a.m., leftover Ruby coffee with half and half. 1 p.m., salami and tempeh fried rice made at home. 3 p.m., leftover queso and chips, half a grapefruit. 6 p.m., slice of pizza, greens, and bread from Middlebrow and tempeh dumplings made at home. 8 p.m., can of Insetto Italian plum sour ale. I skipped over this, but I talked about my friend Claire in Austin. I just gotta say, I love going to Austin. I've visited her in Austin maybe 4 or 5 times now. Most recently, I went to Justine's, the French place there, and had one of the best meals I've had in a while. We showed up. We look like ragamuffins, so they stuck us like in the corner near the server station, like tucked away from anybody else. And we went there like with the intention, because we didn't go out. We've been living in North Carolina, not spending any money in a restaurant. We flew out to Austin, Texas to like go to restaurants and go to Claire's wedding. And so we were prepared to do courses and bottles of wine, and we did everything, and aperitif, digestif, everything. And wonderful bill. The server was amazing. He recommended he just knew the wine list so well. Had the driest wine, the most tannic wine. But anyway, I just gotta say, like, going to Austin, and Claire just knows all the best breakfast taco places. She's from there. She's a great, if you ever go to Austin, need a food recommendations, she knows all of them. So getting back to it, tempeh fried rice. It's very Brian. I feel like Brian was always buying tempeh. I don't know if we lived together at this point. We must have. Maybe not quite yet, but he's over all the time. Middlebrow was is a place. Well, they were a brewery, but then they opened a bungalow by Middlebrow restaurant that had pretty good pizza. I mean, it was good pizza. And they have great beer. And the guy who owns it grew up with our friend Liam Winters, who we've talked about on here before. Sorry that I'm just talking about you on my podcast without permission. But anyway, he does a good job with Middlebrow. I think they started doing wine. I never had it. I think, I don't know if, I don't want to say that I've heard mixed reviews, but I don't know if wine is their thing. I think it's really hard to start making wine out of nowhere. I'd be curious to try it, but it's a fun place. I would recommend checking out Middlebrow if you are in Chicago. Okay. March 1st, 2021, it was Monday. 10 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half and oatmeal with Asian pear made by Brian. 2 p.m. All pastor tacos from Chaparita and a can of RC Cola. 6 p.m. Leftover chips and queso. 7 p.m. Can of Insetto, Italian plum sour ale, and pork and cabbage dumplings made at home. 8 p.m. Popcorn made by Brian. I wonder if I made those dumplings. It's hard to say. I'm gonna guess that I didn't because I don't think I've made a lot of dumplings, but I never make them with cabbage. So, gonna say those were probably frozen from Chinatown somewhere. Let me do a time check. Okay. Yeah, and Brian is a popcorn addict. And we've never had a microwave, so we make it on the stovetop with melted butter. The real way. Went to Chaparita, so that was a good day. I wonder, it's weird. I wonder if we got them to go or if we're eating out at restaurants at this point. I know at some point in here, I remember going to get the vaccine in one of the sports centers, and it was like full of army troops. It was so scary. But before we went to get our vaccine, we went and got McDonald's breakfast, and I had a McGriddle for the first time. I was like, the least healthy thing that you could do before getting a life-saving vaccine. But I think I just needed to balance it out. So maybe we'll get to that at some point and it'll make sense. I mean, I don't know, because again, the previous day I was eating at Middlebrow, but maybe I got it to go because I'm also eating tempeh dumplings at home, which I assume I made at home. I don't know. It's all a blur. March 2nd, 2021, it was a Tuesday. 9 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half. 12 p.m. Potatoes and pepperoni, scrambled egg, salsa verde, and iceberg lettuce over corn tortillas made at home. 3 p.m. Grapefruit and almonds. 6 p.m. Half a can of Paulina grapefruit radler, pork and cabbage dumplings, sautéed mustard greens, and rice made at home. 8 p.m. White chocolate. Sounds like a great breakfast. Potatoes and pepperoni? Wait, potatoes and pepperoni scrambled egg. Wait. So I ate pepperoni breakfast tacos. I don't know, that kind of sounds kind of good. Like papas con chorizo, but with pepperoni. At some point I made mini hand pies, but I stuffed them with, I made a papas con chorizo, but with Szechuan spices. It was so good. And we did like a snack exchange with my game group. And actually, one of the people there was from, I don't remember where in China he's from, but he said that the papas con chorizo with Szechuan spices tasted just like something that his grandmother would make in China, which I keep meaning to be like, what? Look that up and be like, what is that? But yeah, it sounds like a pretty good day. March 3rd, 2021. It was a Wednesday. 10 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half. Potatoes with pepperoni and serrano and iceberg over corn tortillas made at home. 2 p.m. Chicken sandwich from Wendy's and Dr. Pepper. 6 p.m. Can of Insetto Italian plum ale. Chicken cutlets with turnip cream, blackened broccolini with capers, and paprika rice made by Brian. Yeah, that sounds like a Brian meal. Turnip cream, blackened broccolini with capers. Brian loves capers and paprika. He's always making paprika eggs. And we went on a trip to Colorado with some friends and stayed to Estes, Colorado, stayed in their house, and their parents were there. And Brian made a really good like chicken marsala? No, what's the like Olive Garden chicken cutlet dish that everybody likes with the lemon? Chicken piccata chicken. I don't know, but Brian made that and they loved it. So he was making chicken cutlet stuff a lot with capers and lemon. What do you call it? Chicken, lemon, capers, chicken piccata. Yes, I got it. Okay. Sorry. Also, eating. Brian was really into Wendy's at this point. We don't eat at Wendy's anymore. We stopped going to Wendy's because we went to the Wendy's by us. And the last time Brian drove through the drive-thru, he tried to order something. And they said, we don't have anything. And we never went back. Also, I mean, they're still open, but they keep putting really menacing messages on their sign out front. A lot of Bible verses, which I didn't think of Wendy's as a religious establishment. And I don't even know, like, maybe it's just the local manager who's putting Bible verses on the... I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Brian took a picture of their really menacing sign that they sent recently. Let me see if I can find it. It said, like, misfortune awaits you. I don't know. It's just really ominous. And I don't know what's going on with that Wendy's. I wonder if they're still out of everything. It's like, if you're out of everything, why are you open and answering the drive-thru? Turn the lights off. I don't know. There's something about that corner. There's a Popeyes there too. And the last time I went there, I was ordering a chicken sandwich. That's what I get at Popeyes. They have the best chicken sandwich, with spicy chicken sandwich. And I was putting an order in with the guy. I like walked in because I've had issues at their drive-thru before where they just never respond to the drive-thru. So I had to go in, and it's like connected to a gas station. Anyway, I was talking to the guy behind the counter, and he, mid-sentence, I was in mid-sentence, he just walked out of the restaurant and never came back. So I guess this was when we were still going to Wendy's. Brian really loved Wendy's, and my dad really liked Wendy's, and we would always go to Wendy's before hockey games growing up, and we'd get a Dr. Pepper. So I think I got a Dr. Pepper out of association and memory. And I remember the first road trip I took with Brian, we stopped and I used the bathroom at a Wendy's. And when I came out of the bathroom, Brian was sitting down at a table. I'd only been in there for like a minute. Brian was sitting down at a table eating a chicken sandwich. You know, I thought he was like in the car. And I took a photo of him. It was the background of my phone. I took a photo of him eating a chicken sandwich at Wendy's. That was background of my phone forever. And Me, Brian, and one of my sisters had a group chat for a long time called Wendy's Updates, where we would send each other updates about Wendy's. But Wendy's has fallen off a cliff. I heard that they're opening a Wendy's in Ireland now, in Cork. So, whatever, I'm over Wendy's. Their fries are terrible. I do like their chili, though, and when I tell people that, they scream in a bad way. March 4th, 2021, Thursday, 9 a.m., Ruby coffee with half and half, scrambled eggs, potatoes with pepperoni over corn tortillas made by Brian. 2 p.m., mustard green stems, onion, and tofu with black bean sauce over rice made at home. 7 p.m., Korean barbecue and sausage pizza from Bob's and a can of 18th Street Pilsner. Bob's Pizza. This is the beginning of the Korean flavors being super trendy era. Still eating pepperoni for breakfast. And Ruby coffee. I'm really into Ruby coffee at this point. You know, it's somewhat local. I'm in Chicago and it's in Wisconsin. It's cheap. Shipped for free, no tax. March 5th, 2021. It was a Friday. 9 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half made at home. 12 p.m. Leftover slice of pizza. 5 p.m. Leftover slice of pizza. 9 p.m. Can of Dovetail Hell's Lager. Pasta with red sauce and dill popcorn made at home. Dovetail is an amazing brewery on the north side of Chicago. When I was a bartender at the place that had like 40 beers on tap, we used to do tours of breweries to get educated, and I got to go on a tour of Dovetail, and all of their equipment is from Germany, so they make really authentic German beers. I always want, and that's really why I only buy imported German lagers. Every time I see some brewery with like a Pilsner or a Hell's or whatever, it's always like sweet. It's always too sweet, the American microbrewery version of whatever they're doing, or it's off or whatever. Dovetail was spot on, but we don't have access to it. When people visit us from Chicago, they will bring us Dovetail sometimes. It was just clean and crisp. Anyway, they're keeping it local, keeping their quality, not expanding. That's fine, but I do miss them, and I'm forced to buy imports. That's fine. I mean, I would love to buy local, but nobody is making a crisp beer in this area. Dill popcorn was good. We're shaking dried dill over a popcorn for a while. March 6, 2021. It was a Saturday. 9 a.m. Ruby coffee with half and half. Sunny eggs with burnt onions, rashers, and toasted baguette made by Brian. 2 p.m. Gochujang vegetable glass noodle made by Brian. 6 p.m. Can of Parsons ale. 8 p.m. Potato skins, dill popcorn, and ginger tonic made at home. I think that's when we had people over to our apartment, but I can't remember because I do remember making potato skins and people coming over. And the ginger tonic, I think, is what we would make at Pies and Thighs. When I was at Pies and Thighs, I think I was making all the beverages at one point. I mean, I think there were a couple of us making them, but do we all have to do it? I don't remember, but I have to make the beverages. And we had what did they call it? A Renegade. And you could have it hot or cold. And it was ginger, lemon, and honey and water. Really good when you're sick. And so I think I was having some people over that didn't drink, so I made that. And Parsons ale, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's an ale released by the restaurant Parsons in Chicago that does fried chicken. It's like trendy fried chicken. I think and they do like Nashville fried chicken. I think they opened a spot in Nashville, which is funny. Like why? Anyway, okay, and let's end on a Sunday, March 7th, 2021. It was a Sunday, 9 a.m. Leftover coffee with half and half, caramelized onion potato salad, toasted baguette, and a rasher made at home. 11 a.m. Intelligentsia drip coffee with half and half. 2 p.m. Popeye's fish sandwich and a chicken strip. 6 p.m. half of a middlebrow ale. 8 p.m. 2 cans of lighthearted ale, 2 Vienna hot dogs with onions and sauerkraut, s'mores pie made by Vincent, and a toasted marshmallow. Well, that sounds fun. This potato salad sounds good. The best potato salad I ever made, I brought it to a backyard hangout at Kira and Ryan's house. Some people that used to live with my sister and went to school with my sister. And it was like a really lime juice forward potato salad. I forget what else was in it, but I made it a couple times and people would always ask me, what is in your potato salad? I think it was the lime juice. I think the lime juice made it really fresh. It was like, I hate saying this, but it was like an Asian inspired potato salad. I feel like every cooking show, it's like people always try to put like an Asian twist, like on whatever. And it's just like, oh, stop. Like, appropriating like Asian flavors to try and get ahead. Like you're not being unique or like innovative. You're just, I don't know. It's not even controversial. I just think that the lime juice really worked for a potato salad. It can be so heavy. I wish I remember what else was in it. I think like bacon and lime juice. I don't know. I very much remember getting this Popeye's fish sandwich at a random gas station outside of Chicago. And what a mistake it was. First of all, it was way too hot. I don't know why it was so hot. Hot and soggy and fell apart. And I loved the Popeye's chicken sandwich so much that I thought the fish sandwich is going to be great. Culver's has a good fish sandwich. How can they make it bad? I never will eat a Popeye's fish sandwich again. And okay, so it looks like here's what I'm guessing. I think we went over to Andrew and Kim's house and they had a fire and we hung out with our gamer group and roasted marshmallows over the fire and toasted hot dogs. That's what it seems like. I did also travel with them, but are we on a trip at this point? No. That sounds great. 2 hot dogs, s'mores pie. Yeah, that sounds like a good way to end this episode. Intelligentsia coffee. I think that's a local Chicago thing. I don't know if other people know or if they've expanded, but anyway, thanks for listening to another segment from peak COVID where, I'm apparently socializing. We would socialize outside around a fire. I mean, that's what was going on. With the gamer group, we would do our virtual games and then meet up outside around a fire and hang out. Yeah. And Brian and I would drive all over Creation, get coffee somewhere, get fast food somewhere, because that's all we could do. We couldn't go sit down in a restaurant anymore. Okay. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.